Hey, what's up? It's Chris here, back with a review. This time for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Episode 8, Things We Bury. Um, Before I get into it, you like this video, you like the content, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Alright, here we go. Overall, I thought it was a real fun episode. I thought it was a cool episode. You got to learn a lot about Whitehall. You got to learn some stuff about Sky's mother. I assume that's her mother and her father. Um, got a lot of cool flashbacks with Agent Carter, which I'm hoping that's gonna come into play on her own little miniseries. Yeah, overall I thought it was a cool episode, and I'm just gonna talk about the thing. I was like, first off, I'm gonna start with we got Ward running around like being Ward. This episode, like he kidnaps his brother, his older brother, the senator, and he pretty much like at their family home, and he pretty much like tries to get him to confess that he manipulated him into pushing his younger brother Thomas into that well. Which ever since the first season, from what I can remember, they make a point like to point out that like was a defining moment for him as his character, and it kind of molded him. And it just honestly just makes me want to know more about his parents, his mother and his father, and who they are and what they were like, because they seem to be like they were affluent, like well off. So I would be very interested to see why they were so cruel and what the hell was going on with that. But like eventually his brother like confesses. Then you get the I thought he was gonna push him in the well, but he didn't. You see them walk away, and like what's cool towards the end, you get the reveal where you see that Ward may be working for Hydra again because he's sitting and he's talking to Whitehall, which I don't outright think he is. I think he has motives behind that. But then you see the newscast where he pretty much like says he killed his brother and his mother and his father, and he made it seem like his brother did it like a murder suicide. I thought that was cool. So I thought his little side little project was cool. Then you had Coulson and like Coulson, Trip, Scott, and Fitz doing like some little spot shit. They went to Hawaii. Coulson sent Trip to get to do the button, sent Scott to get to do the watch, which came into play like separately. They was harmless, but when they like the two devices came together, they created an EMP. Essentially, they were using it to like knock out the satellite of this network mapping system in Hawaii, so they can go to the secondary setup in Australia and like get all the information to get it to map the world so they can find the city, because that's what they're looking for. Like that was another major part. Like now it's a race to like find the city, but it was kind of a like setup when they got there. Then for the like first time you got to see Coulson interact with Scott's father. I like Scott's father. He's nuts, and there's something going on with him. And like I like the interaction they had together, because he's trying to keep it together to make it seem like he's not an evil bad guy, but he keeps doing fucked up shit. I just like his character. His character came into play a lot this episode. But that was a little plot, which was cool. The major thing, you got to learn a lot about Whitehall's history. Essentially, like if you remember the first episode of the season, no, first or second of the season, you see the flashback when Agent Carter, like they raid that base and they find him there, and he's essentially there. Come to find, I always thought they knew it was the same person. You found out in the episode they didn't know that Whitehall was the same person as Werner Reinhardt. That's his name. They figured that out this episode, and what you found out is that, like, pretty much, Agent Carter captured him and kept him and locked him up in this prison called Iraq, which I think is in the comics as well. Locked him up in there for 40 years and just straight ass didn't let him out. I liked all the like scenes between them two. Like, they were both fantastic actors. I like all the scenes they had with each other because she pretty much told him, like, long as I'm in charge of the S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, you'll never get out. But since, since Captain America, S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra is kind of intertwined, so eventually, like, he gets part and he gets let out, but he's old as shit. And this is what they're trying to figure out, like, how is he still look the same? But in the beginning of the episode, you see when he first gets the obelisk, which they're calling it the Diviner now. You see when he first gets it, he has like villagers and people touching it, and they come across this Chinese lady. I'm assuming she's Chinese, and she touches it and it doesn't affect her. And right when that happens, like that's when the flashbacks happen when they take over the base and they lock him up. When they find her again, 40 years later, that's when they go get him. And she looks the same. She hasn't aged nothing. Essentially, remember in the episode when he told Raina, like, he once called somebody up for 2 weeks? I'm assuming he's talking about her. Because, like, in the episode, he dissects her and pretty much takes all her organs, takes everything out and put it into himself, which brings his youth back. And then you get, like, the big reveal that was the doctor's wife. So essentially that was Scar's mother. So which means Scar's father is pretty much playing both sides. Like, he wants everybody dead. He doesn't give a fuck about any of them. And what I liked about him is they also went into like the into the Kree. They didn't really say they were Kree, but they kind of talked about them, like they called them Blue Angels. When they were telling the story of the Obelisk of Divana, like they called them Blue Angels. They came down from the sky, like they came to conquer the earth. This was what Whitehall was saying, like Peggy Carter. Then that's when Scar's father was like, no, they came to eradicate, which is essentially a tweak on the origins of the Inhumans. The Kree came to Earth to pretty much turn humans into weapons to use in a war against the Skrulls. They saw it like the experiments as a failure. Then they left. Like, they built the city of Ten and all that, then they left, and then the Inhumans survived. That's pretty much, but they tweaked it for the show, which is cool. But I think Scar's father has to be some sort of Inhuman, and his mother had to be some sort of Inhuman. In my opinion, he'd been to a Telling before, because if you watch the episode, he knows far too much. He even claims to know where it is. So he has to be an Inhuman who got banished or left or something. He has to be. That's personally my theory. What else happened? You also had like Fitz still trying to get his bearings because Coulson wanted him to like put this thing together, which he did. But then you also had like Bobby and Hunter that kind of got back together. But that was pretty much it. But that was like the major stuff I liked on the episode. Overall, I give it like a solid 8. I think it's a great lead up to the full finale. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the next episode because I'm thinking they're supposed to find they're supposed to find like the city, which I'm not sure if they actually will, because I don't really see them introducing the Tillen in that show, like introducing the humans in the show. But I'm interested to see if that happens. I'm sorry this video ran a little long, but yeah, it was a great episode. Check out my review for Gotham and Flash, and if you like, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Alright, thanks.